pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have the newly elected and re-elected councilors come forward, please? Okay. I'm going to have you raise your right hand. Do you, Tom Fennessy, having been elected as 2nd District Alderperson, Jack Sweeney, having been elected as 4th District Alderperson, Terry Mazzolia, having been elected as 6th District Alderperson, Mike Herrick, having been elected as 8th District Alderperson, and Bob Brown, having been elected as 10th District Alderperson in the City of Superior in Douglas County, Wisconsin, swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin, and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office to the best of your ability. So help you God. Okay.
Please call the roll.
Counselor Olson. Here. Counselor Fennessy. Counselor Bender. Here. Counselor Sweeney. Here. Counselor McDonald. Here. Counselor Mazzolia. Here. Counselor Finsland. Here. Counselor Herrick. Here. Counselor McKenzie. Here. Counselor Brown. Here. Counselor Nowicki. Here. Counselor Kadat. Here.
Recognizing a quorum will proceed.
Item 3.2 and 3.3 is going to be selection of the council president and vice president.
And before we get started, if you'll tolerate me for a moment, Clerk Kalan and I have developed over the years a procedure that you've liked in the past several years anyway for nominating and electing council leadership. And if you don't mind, I'll sort of review that with you for a moment just now. We'll take nominations for candidates for president first. One only needs to garner a nomination and a second to be a candidate. There need not be any vote on the nomination. Then we'll invite each candidate to address the council for 1 minute. I can time keep. If we can't, usually collegiality speaks for an arrival, a decision as to who will speak first or second or third or whatever. If that can't be arrived at, we can cut cards or something. And then we would do a roll call vote, in essence calling each counselor to state the name of their preferred candidate. Now, if more than 2 are nominated for president and no candidate receives 6 or more votes, we would have the top 2 candidates go to a final vote. So we would winnow that down to 2. Now, if more than 2 are nominated and there is not a top 2, and obviously with a body of 10 that can happen with a 4, 3, and a 3, then the 2 who are tied would first get put to a vote and must receive 6 or more votes. One of those 2 must receive 6 or more votes to advance to the final election. If we have 2 finalists, once we have 2 finalists, we'll have 2 finalists ultimately. The vote will go to the council. If we have a tie initially, the mayor has the statutory authority, if he wants to exercise it, to break the tie. If he declines to break the tie, we would submit it to a second roll call vote. And if we're tied after 2 roll call votes, what we would do is go to a secret ballot. If we're still tied after a secret ballot, we could cut cards. For those of you who are history buffs, we did cut cards in April of 2009 when Dan Queenie Olson's card trumped Tom Bridges' 3 of clubs. So We've done that before. It sounds quirky, but it worked. At least it worked for Councilor Olson. We'll repeat that process for Vice President, too, then, if you're all agreeable. So sorry for the long-windedness, but it gets a little tedious depending on how things go with the nomination process. I wanted to come clean with some of those processes.
Councilor Olson.
That Dan Queenie Olson isn't in the minutes, is it? All right.
Are there any nominations? Councilor?
Which one you got? Nominate Warren Bender for president.
I'll second that nomination.
We have motion and second for the nomination of Warren Bender for president. Are there any other nominees? Hearing and seeing none, I'll ask for a consensus ballot. Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Congratulations, Mr. President.
I was just going to say, I think you still should get your 1 minute.
I'll defer it.
Oh, okay. The nominations for Vice President. Counselor?
Nominate Denise McDonald.
Second,
Motion and second. Other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Bob Brown.
Motion for Counselor Brown. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and second for nominating Counselor Brown. We have two nominees. Are there any other nominees? Hearing none, I'll defer the process to the attorney.
We've got two candidates for Vice President, Councilors McDonald and Brown. If you would like to exercise your option of addressing the council, I'll cut you off in a minute. I would suggest ladies first, but we're not married to that process.
Do I have to stand?
Your choice.
Choice. I would just like to ask you all to consider voting for me. I really wanted to get more involved in the city process than I have been, and I really think this would give me an opportunity to work more closely with everybody, including all of you guys. So I'd just like to say, please vote for me, and I didn't expect to be talking, so thank you.
Counselor Brown?
Yes, I decided to run for the council again when when I understood that Bruce was going to run for mayor, and I've known Bruce for many years. And now that Warren is president, I've known Warren for over 20 years. And I really think the three of us can work well together. And I, too, look forward to working more closely with our department heads. I think there's a few things that I would like to see changed, and I would like to see some other things. And if you've looked at my resume, you see I have extensive 20 years on, or 18 years on county board, and I was vice president and assistant business manager of local Boilermakers 647. I'm on the Governor's Council for Coastal Management and have helped bring quite a few dollars to the city of Superior through dock repairs and Arrowhead pier reclamation. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Ready? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. Just please state the candidate of who you're voting for. Councilor Olson,
Denise.
Councilor Fennessy,
Councilor McDonald.
Councilor Bender, Councilor Sweeney, Councilor McDonald, Councilor Massolia, Councilor Finsland, Councilor Herrick.
Donald.
I'm sorry.
Denise.
Okay, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. McKenzie?
Bob Brown.
And Counselor Brown? 6-4. Denise McDonald has been elected Vice President.
Congratulations, Madam Vice President. I also want to thank President Herrick and Vice President McKenzie for their excellent service in the last number of years.
Item 4 is approval of the minutes from the April 3rd regular council meeting.
Heard a motion and a second to approve. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 6 is the consent agenda.
Heard a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 7.1, Parks and Recreation Administrator Morgan is requesting the following: to award the contract for the Gateway Fence Improvements Project to Marquette Fence Company for $102,685.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying, I'm sorry, Councilor Herrick.
Yes, Mary, can you just explain a little bit about the project, please?
Sure. The Common Council allocated a sum of money to improve the city's entrances in our current capital plan. Last summer, we bid these two items combined, and unfortunately only received one bid that was in fact over the budgeted allocation. So we reconfigured the bids into a fence bid and a sign bid, and we got, you'll note from your memo, very many more vendors, and the pricing came in under budget, and so we bring that to you this evening. The project consists of a City of Superior sign, which would be located on the east side of Hammond Avenue as you come off the Blotnick Bridge. It would be situated opposite the Welcome to Wisconsin sign. The sign is 28 feet long, made of stone columns featuring backlit lettering, and there would be attractive landscaping surrounding it. In addition, the sign bid includes another sign to be located on Belknap Street at East 2nd, where one makes the turn onto Highway 2 going west, opposite the Bong Memorial Veterans Center, or Historical Veterans Center. This sign is a little bit different, a little bit smaller to fit the scale of the space. And this sign ideally would read Superior, home of the University of Wisconsin Superior, the Wisconsin Indian Head Technical College, and the Superior Spartans, provided our partners are agreeable. So also, additionally, it would have the landscaping. So that constitutes the sign bid. The fencing bid is a companion to the Blotnick sign. It's 2,200 lineal feet of steel fencing, ornamental fencing, that would replace the chain link fence you may have noticed that is currently in place there on both sides of Hammond. Starts at Grand Avenue and winds its way around to Hammond, and then it begins again in front of the Bridgeview Hotel and winds its way to the west. We believe that this will be a tremendous improvement to the entrance to our city at the Blotnick Bridge, and a reminder to residents and locals that we are welcoming them as they make their way onto Highway 2, and while also identifying our educational institutions.
Thank you.
Councilor Olson.
Where is Marquette Fence from?
Marquette, Michigan. Isn't that right, Nance? Yes.
And do we have prevailing wage in this contract?
Yes.
Thank you.
Further discussion? You have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 7.2, Administrator Morgan is requesting to award the contract for the gateway entrance signs to RJS Construction for $82,600 for the sign at the foot of the Blotnick Bridge and $73,800 for the sign at East 2nd Street onto Belknap Street for a project total of $156,400.
Heard a motion and second to approve. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Administrator Morgan is requesting to waive the pesticide ordinance to use bleach to remove weeds along the cyclone fence lines in the city recreational facilities and to forgo the posting requirements.
Heard a motion and second. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Carried.
Item 7.4, Planning Director Cirque, on behalf of the Douglas County Relay for Life, is requesting authorization to display their banner announcing the 20th anniversary year and accomplishment of raising $1 million for the American Cancer Society on various public and private properties.
Heard the motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Carried.
7.5, Planning Director Cirque is recommending to the city donate property at 708 Weeks Avenue to Western Lake Superior Habitat for Humanity for the purpose of rehabilitating a home for low to moderate income households.
Heard the motion in multiple seconds. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 7.
I'm sorry. Counselor, you want to speak? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh.
People in the area get a chance to make a motion.
Yes.
Okay, item 7.6, Fire Chief Panger is requesting approval to award the bid for a tow vehicle for the water rescue trailer to Badger Truck Center for $52,060.
I don't know if that was a motion or ruckus. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Carried.
7.7, Public Works Director Getzman is requesting to award the wet weather optimization improvements activated sludge pumping improvements project to Rice Lake Construction Group for $222,500.
Heard the motion and second. Counselor Herrick?
Yeah, Jeff, could you explain a little bit about how funding will take place for this?
Certainly, Counselor. This is one of the projects that was identified on that list we came here last year with and before the rate increase discussion. And so it was one of the projects identified in the rate increase that needed to happen. The DNR has been working with the ESD to try to get these projects lined up to improve things in our system. And so that's primarily where the funding is coming from at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor McKenzie?
Jeff, just curious, or Steve Roberts as well, just one bid on this, I noticed, and I'm just curious how you came to the decision of reducing that bid once theirs was the only bid, and then it was reduced by $13,000, almost $14,000. How was that determined? Maybe Steve?
Yeah, I think we'll let Steve address that, but because he was involved with making those decisions as far as the bid items and things.
So what we did with this project is after we opened the bids and there was only one bid received, we looked at both the engineer's estimate as well as what we had budgeted for the project. And the bid that Rice Lake had was lower than the amount that was budgeted. I think out of the $1.26 million that had been in that line item, this project was about $252,000 of that. So the bid came in less than that. But it was above what the engineer's estimate for this project was, and so we're trying to weigh whether or not to rebid this project. And as we went through that, Donahue and Associates, on our behalf, contacted the contractor to look at their bid and see in the areas where their prices were higher than what their estimate had been, if there were assumptions that they made that could be, they could get more information on and reduce the costs for the contingencies for those items. And after going through that process, they identified about $13,700 worth of of contingencies that weren't necessary in the bid, that they were assuaged, or that their concerns were not something that would result in additional costs. And so we reduced the bid by that amount and then recommended moving forward.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing, so thanks for researching that and being thorough. Thanks, Steve.
Yep.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
7.8, Public Works Director Getzman is requesting to award consultant services for the combined sewer treatment plant 2 dredging project to Donahue and Associates for $54,440.
Heard a motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
7.9, Assistant Public Works Director Janico is requesting to award the city's 2013 asphalt milling contract to WK Construction for the estimated amount of $58,102.
Heard the motion and second to approve. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 8.1, Mayor Hagan is requesting public input, discussion, and adoption of the proposed Bear Creek Park Animal Shelter Site, 110 Moccasin Mike Road, be referred to a special meeting immediately following this meeting with power to act.
Heard a motion and second. All in favor for referral signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 10.1 is a resolution.
Terry?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry I didn't put it on here. May I just say something under Councilor's business?
I'm sorry, I went right past that.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Thank you. I just want to remind everybody in the spirit that this is Volunteer Recognition Week, so please get out there if you get a chance. Thank all the local volunteers for all that they do throughout the year. Thank you.
Councilor Bender also wanted to speak.
Yes. For the people who do not necessarily get the newspaper or read their weekly shopper or are on the mailing list for the chamber, it is free landfill days this Saturday, April 20th, and next Saturday, April 27th, from 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And the pertinent information is on the city's website, and you can also call the landfill if you need to. And since nobody is probably ready to write this down, I won't bother to read the number, but you can certainly call the city clerk, and she would be glad to give you that number, too. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was knowledgeable about this and would have the opportunity to visit the landfill if they were so inclined. Thank you.
Councilor Olson.
I would just like to remind people that next Thursday is Workers' Memorial Day, that this will be our fourth year that we're doing that, and we are planning a tree in the Billings Park proper at 9 o'clock out in Billings Park, and prior to that there will be a breakfast roughly at 7:30 in the morning at the Billings Park Civic Center. And this holiday is recognized around the world for workers that have either died or been gravely injured while they're at work, and this is a good deal, and I invite all of you to come, and I expect most of you to be there. So the city has done a lot of hard work on getting this ready, Mary and Ronnie in particularly, and everybody else. So it's a good event. It's a bad event, but it's something that we do, and I invite all of you to be there next Thursday morning at the Billings Park Civic Center at 7:30. Rain, snow, or shine.
Any other business by councilors? Seeing none, we'll move on.
Item 10.1 is a resolution introduced by the Planning Department setting a public hearing May 7th to amend the zoning code to rezone lots in the vicinity of 3107 Ogden Avenue from apartment residential district to highway commercial.
Heard the motion and second to approve. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 10.2 is a resolution introduced by the Planning Department setting a public hearing June 4th to vacate a portion of the east-west alley between Winter and Broadway Streets and John and Hewitt Avenues.
Heard a motion and second to approve. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 10.3 is a resolution introduced by the Planning Department setting a public hearing June 4th to vacate a portion of Main Street on Connors Point.
Move for approval.
Heard a motion and second to approve. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 10.4 is the resolution of the City of Superior approving the report of the Redevelopment Authority of the City of Superior regarding the development agreement with CNC Holdings of Duluth, LLC, and MIA Consulting Engineers.
Move for approval.
Motion and second. Director Cirque.
Thanks, Mayor. Just a little background on this project. So, and Chad will probably correct me, but probably about 3 or 4 years ago, maybe even longer than that, Chad embarked on a construction project down on Connors Point, moving his office building from Duluth over here. Chad has a specialty that is for marine structures, and we work very closely with him on these harbor assistance grant projects. He's been very successful and is now kind of moving into phase 2 of his project, which we all kind of knew about when he was doing phase 1, which is a small marina, small boat marina, fishing boat marina, breakwater, as well as a parking area and future expansion, hopefully, of his building that he has down there. He is here if the council has any questions, and I'd probably invite him to maybe come up and say a couple of words about his business and some of the things that he works on, as well as some of his insights into what his future plans are probably next 5, 6, 7 years. Chad?
Thanks for having me here tonight. Is this on?
All right, I kind of speak loud enough anyways, but basically what we've done here is we've taken a business that was 6 engineers out of the Duluth office, and we knew we wanted to expand the company. We brought it over to Superior, and we've now grown to a company that's 16 full-time employees and 3 to 5 part-time employees. Our current plans right now for the engineering company is to double that size in the next 5 to 7 years, if the economy plays nice with us. So that is our current plans. We do services not only in the local area, but the regional area around the Great Lakes. And then also kind of our area of operation right now for engineering is if you took a line and drew it from the Dakotas to Arizona, and then went east, that's the area that we currently do engineering services in at this point. So it's, we're doing a lot of work outside of this area, which is bringing engineering work back to us here, and we'll hopefully continue to grow our business. So again, we just hired a couple more people here recently that'll be starting in July, and one at the end of this month. So we're growing the company. Something else that we've done here recently is we started a underwater services company as well, which will be employing anywhere from 3 to 5 additional employees. So that'll be started out of the same facility. One of the big reasons why we want to grow the facility, and specifically the next step is the marina. We have 4 boats of our own right now, which we need slip space for. We have 3 employees that want slip space. Can't say that too fast. And then I've had interest from other business owners. I've got a whole stack of cards that have interested business owners that are looking for very small fishing boat, your 22-foot open bow fishing boat, just a place to put it in for the summer. So, so we're going to develop that area, the first part of it, and hopefully in the future we have plans on developing more office space as well. And so the purchase of the land and the development is to support the parking needed for that additional office space development as well. So, any questions?
Thank you very much, Chad.
Say, Mayor, I have a question.
Yes.
Now, talking about this small boat marina, and this means the ones that don't need very deep water, I take something like that?
That's correct.
What type of effect do you think that this is going to have on Barker's Island Marina?
Well, currently, all of those businessmen that I've talked about, none of them have boats over at Barker's Island right now. Not one of them. So So I don't see the adverse effect when none of them are over there already. If we do our future development, there was a part out in front that we were looking to develop. That's going to be an expensive development because of the sheer number of wood piling that are out in front of our building. That's the one that we had planned on developing with a deeper draft someday. It may or may not happen. Again, depends on the future of our business. But currently, right now, we're just developing this small part in that small bay, which actually used to be filled in. I don't know if too many of you know that or not, but that was in 1939. That whole bay was actually filled in. There's a crib under the water that you can't see, and we're actually building a rock breakwater right on top of the old crib. So we're reusing the old structure that's there to put the breakwater in, and then we're digging about another 1 to 2 feet out just to get it deep enough, about 4 feet, to get small fishing boats in there.
I want to thank you for your commitment to our community and the growth you've witnessed and the ability that we've had to help you. I want to thank Director Cirque and Public Works and Brad from Assessment and others that have played a role in helping you in this. And we appreciate your very dedicated commitment to our community.
Well, thank you. And I got to thank everybody here. Everybody's been really great to work with in moving our company over here. It's been a pleasure doing business, and I've highly recommended this same facility in the same area to other people, as I just think you guys have been great to us in helping us get the business too. So, and the Nordic Underwater Services that we just started is a veteran-owned company as well. So,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilor Brown.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you, too. I'm the counselor for that district down there. And years ago, when Connors Point became just about vacant, except for about 3 houses down there, I was hoping that that it would be developed into something other than an industrial park, but it never got through. So, but I want to thank you for coming, because you're the first business down there that really belongs down there. It's the first waterborne business, and I'm not against the other businesses that are down there. I applaud them for all that they have done for Superior, but I just thought that whole point should have been saved for waterborne commerce. But you know, the old saying, wish in one hand and what happens in the other one. So thank you.
You're Councilor, you're citing history that none of us remember. How did you know all that? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Item 10.5 is a resolution of the City of Superior approving the execution of an amended and restated permanent limited easement on Connors Point for WisDOT access to the Botnick Bridge.
Motion and second. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Any other business to come before this body? Motion to adjourn. For the motion, second to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Stand adjourned. It's 7 o'clock. Committee of the Whole at 10 after? 7:05. 10 after? 10 after. Okay. Whatever you wish. Thank you.
I said 7:05. You said 7. It was a compromise.
Item 1, with power to act, Mayor Hagan is requesting public input, discussion, and adoption of the proposed Bear Creek Park Animal Shelter Site at 110 Moccasin Mike Road.
I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion approved.
Okay. Second? Okay. Now, who wanted to do this? Explain? Okay. And then the mayor wants to do some explaining about this.
Well, I thank you for the taking this matter up this evening. Councilor McKenzie can cite this much better than I, and many of you who have been here longer than me. Gene Vito and others have worked on this project for 5 years now, I think. But at any rate, there have been a number of sites that have been viewed, researched, thought were great at one point in time, and they've all had some failures to them with regard to either accessibility, contamination, or poor soil. They weren't the right place to be, and so we have a site before you that we believe is very admirably located for the city, the visibility of it. It fits in well with park atmosphere. A lot of children and ball teams and so forth are there, and it has proper soil conditions. Most of the utilities are there, and we think it'll be an excellent site for and a great addition to the community. So we're asking for your consideration.
Thank you, Mayor. And one thing I forgot to mention is that I reserve my right to vote, even though I'm running this meeting. And ask the city clerk to call the first and only person who's signed up to speak. Mick, did you want to speak first?
Vaya con Dios, el presidente.
Gracias, senor. Actually, it's only at Rotary where I'm allowed to be called El Presidente. Okay, so Terry, now, did you want to say something else besides Vaya con Dios?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go.
Buenas noches, no. I just wanted to give a little bit of history before other people talk, and thank you, Mayor. I guess in 2008, I got some things written down here, but in 2008, I and others reopened the idea to the possibility of building a new animal shelter in Superior. Former Mayor Ross had informed me that the original discussion actually started back in 2003. As it was debated 10 years ago, it was my hope that our community would consider continuing the concept of replacing the old, deplorable, and undersized building that was actually built 50 years ago, not as an animal shelter, but as a city pound. It was a place for dogs and cats to be housed for 7 to 14 days. Then, if no one claimed them, they were either put to sleep because space was limited or primarily because no one cared. Sometimes the animals never even made it to the pound. At the discretion of the pound master, of course it's the animal control officer now, the animals would often be gassed in the back of the truck and then hauled off to the landfill. I don't think I'll ever be able to get that terrible image out of my mind. These are just some of the reasons why I and many others believe we need a new facility where these animals can be cared for in a far humane manner. But before we can even consider this possibility, we desperately need a site. Over the past 5 years, 9 sites have come and gone, and I've got them listed here. The first thing that we looked at back in 2008 was the present site on Hill Avenue, and immediately that was deemed not good. It was narrow. It was a congested area, closely in close proximity with the city garage, buses. There's a dentist office on one side, and then the armory building on the other side. The second one was in the north end. I see Jason's not here, but I immediately had talked to him about possibly finding a site, and we found one in the north end. I can't remember exactly the number of the block there, but that was considered way too small. It was in a residential area, and no parking, of course. Third site, we thought we really found something there. It was on 21st Street, right next to the Votech. It was railroad property, and we really thought that they were going to actually donate that property. I was told that they owed us a favor. As it turned out, they didn't or didn't want to. and so they decided not to sell. And I do believe that there were soil issues there as well. I think there was some contamination. We could have dealt with that, but again, they didn't want to sell. The fourth site was something I think Jason and I looked at as well, was the old H&H Marine Building and property on East 2nd Street. That looked like it was going to be a good site because, well, it wasn't quite enough property, but we could have managed, but there also was, a trail there, and it looked like it might be good. But it ended up, the bank owned that, and I think it ended up being too expensive, and there were wetland issues, and there were parking issues. The number five site, we actually even considered possibly going out to where Douglas County Humane Society is, the property that's out there. Could we put a shelter out there that was going to be, city and county? But I think the general consensus was that we really couldn't do that. There were a lot of issues with the county. It was going to be a long process, and there were a lot of uncertainties as to how that would work. Number six property that we looked at was 46th Street on Tower Avenue, and that site was really a fantastic looking piece of property that we thought it couldn't be better than that, right on Tower Avenue. City owned it, 11 acres. It was going to have, good exposure. The only problem is that being next to the airport, there were issues with the FAA, BOA, and so it was some politics involved there, whether they could approve it or not. And so that was going to be a long process, possibly 2 years. We decided not to roll the dice on that one. Number 7 was somebody had brought up the idea, and we looked into it. 28th Street was close to the skate park. But I think immediately we found out that, again, that was a congested area with all the schools and the traffic that was there. There would have been parking issues and, excuse me, no utilities. Next site that we looked at, Hammond Avenue. Again, now, remember, this is over a 5-year period that these things keep coming and going, and many of them right at the 11th hour. Hammond Avenue, we negotiated with the county, and they actually donated that property. It was a narrow strip of property. Again, it looked ideal at first, and it looked good at first, but not ideal because of the racetrack. But there's a lot of times you just have to take what you can get. Unfortunately, actually, it's a good thing that Kestrel come here, but it was unfortunate for this site when Tower Avenue, 46th Street was going to be eliminated, creating a situation where we were going to have access at Hammond. And Jeff Getzman, I think, will be the first one to say that was going to be a very expensive venture. I think $400,000 or so. And so, because of those cost issues, we had to abandon that idea. Although for a long time we had planned on that. Number 9 was the 21st and Hill, which is actually right across from the present site where our Animal Allies is now, the old ARF. We thought about that. There was some property there, I believe, that was county, city, but that unfortunately is not in the SAMP, and there were going to be a lot of issues, and it was going to be expensive, and so that didn't work out. Which brings us to Bear Creek Park. I was really happy to hear when this suggestion come up. I think it's myself. I believe it to be a wonderful spot because it's there's no cost involved with it. At least not as far as getting the property. It's city owned. I believe Mayor's is at 13 acres. There are 13 acres there. And of course, there would be room for parking, access to the Osagie Trail, and I think, Mary, that the shelter could actually coexist with the playground equipment there, especially with the ball field, and so I think that it actually would work good as far as people maybe visiting the park and then maybe thinking about adopting an animal. What this definitely will do is promote the capital campaign. we need a site. Obviously, you can't do any project where you're going to build something without a site. And that we have people out there that we believe that are going to be committed to this, but they have to know where it is. The county is curious. I see Terry White is here tonight. I know he's a big advocate and for this project, and so I'm sure he wants to know where this is going to go, so they can put their thinking caps on. It would be 2 miles. It would be only 2 miles from where the current shelter is now for Douglas County, which I believe again would promote people from the county to want to be able to bring those animals in from those towns and villages. It certainly would be, I think, convenient for them, and it certainly would be convenient for people in the city. And it's also in an area that would not affect any residential homes. It's away from all that. I think that with all that said, I think there's the vast majority. In my opinion, the vast majority of the public really supports this project and this site. And quite frankly, we're running out of sites. No site. We're not going to have a project. And Mayor, thank you. I've been going on here for a long time, but Mayor, thank you for your support for the past 2 years. I mean, complete support on that. All of the department heads that have helped me worked on this. All of these committees. I mean, it's been. It seems like it must be hundreds of committees. It's got to be thousands of hours, and it's been a lot more work than I would have expected. But everybody just kept working on this thing. And I guess I'll end by saying that I really want to give special thanks to all of the people that have been taking care of these animals all these years, to all the people who worked at ARF. It's Animal Allies now, but all of the people from ARF that have been so dedicated. Animal Allies for all your work and for coming to our rescue and these animals' rescue and taking care of them. And Douglas County Humane Society, thank you so much. You've done such a wonderful job of sustaining that shelter out there. You've been doing it, with all the hard work and all the fundraising. And by the way, there's a fundraiser coming up, Barker's Island, April 27th, and I'm sorry. Barker's Island was the first 2 years. Thank you. UWS, April 27th, 5:30. And I think there's still tickets available. Yeah. So thank you so much. I mean, not just for this, for working on this project, but for the years of dedication and for the thousands of animals that you saved. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor, for your very good summary of where the process began in 2008, really, as you mentioned, in 2003, and also each one of the various sites that's been discussed and what was the good and what was the bad as far as that goes. So, and also for the many nice things that you had to say as far as ARF, Animal Allies, and also Douglas County Humane Society. So do we want to have the... Oh, okay. Councillor Olson, go ahead.
Okay, so now that everybody has the history, we, as a council, need to make up our minds on what we want to do. I will tell all of you that I'm very much in favor of this Bear Creek site. And the reasons, there was 9 reasons prior to Bear Creek Park that we just couldn't come to an agreement with. So we have researched this, I believe, as far as we can. In respect to you, Tom, just getting on the council, this is probably something that you haven't been that much engaged in, and you'll need to get to your constituents and see how they are, and if you're going to talk, that'd be great. This is something that outside of this room, there isn't all that many people that realize that this has been going on for that period of time. It affects the people that are sitting out there. It affects us councilors here. I've been here the 5 years with Mick, and everybody else here is long too, if not longer. But what we have in front of us is a site that the city already owns. So we have money bonded for this project. And for those that don't know, I have been in the construction industry for 37 years. And it was brought up that before you do any building, you need a site, and that is quite possibly the most true statement that's ever been said. So, with that being said, there's a lot of options out there. We have a lot of potentials. We have a lot of interested parties. But again, we have to revert back to we need a site before we can do anything. We need a site before we can go to an engineering firm or an architect. In my opinion, we need a conceptual drawing of what this is going to look like. We need to reach out to our local contractors, reach out to the public in this capital campaign, and it all again reverts back to we need a site to start any of this. We've talked about 3 different sizes for this. We've talked about the animals just serving, or the shelter just serving city animals. We've talked about the shelter serving Douglas County, city, everyone's animals. And I'll tell you again that I'm all in favor of all of that. We need to find a facility that will take all of the animals that are in this community, whether it's in the city limits or in the county of Douglas. So we also have received a letter from Animal Allies that they want to know what we're doing by June 30th. Now, I don't believe that we should be jeopardizing their participation, their willingness to be a part of this project. Some of the other entities that are involved, obviously Douglas County, and Terry, I appreciate you being here. Dan Corbin said, too, a while back, they want to see what we're building if the county is going to be a part of this project. Now, we do have some commitment from the county on a long-term basis, and that is going to be the mayor's responsibility. I just got to throw that at you to see where we can go with that in talking with Doug and Andy. We obviously have the support of Douglas County Humane Society without a hitch. Your fundraising efforts, your ability to keep your facility open is second to none, so I applaud you for that. We have local contractors that have looked at this, one from Superior, one from Duluth. So with all that said, I asked the council, we have been thinking about this for a very, very long time. I think we need to get off the bubble right here tonight, approve this site, and then we can move forward. As long as we've got the site, then we move forward with everything else that has to go. We worry about everything else tomorrow, but we need the site. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor, and I couldn't agree more. Who else from the council would like to log in on this?
I guess maybe I'll reserve my comments till after the public has spoken, but I would like to speak on it.
Anyone else before we have comments by the public? Okay. Councilor Herrick?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm definitely in favor of this site. I think it's a good opportunity. It can blend very well in with the park situation out there. It'll give the opportunity for the animals to be walked. I think it'll draw a lot of volunteers there too. Those using the park, those that just want to come out and volunteer. And what I've heard is that especially at the county level, and I'm sure the city level too, that the volunteers, they're doing a lot of work out there, almost to the point where they're being overutilized. So I think it's great if we have a nice new facility that will gain more support for volunteers out there. So I'm very much in support of this site. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Councilor Brown?
Yeah, I had a phone call today from an old friend of mine who I served with on the county board. Harold Olson's his name, and Harold is a great animal lover, and Harold talked to me for quite a while. And he gave me a quote from Mahatma Gandhi, and who we all remember was the savior of India. But the Mahatma said that you could always tell how good a country was by the cities and the residents that lived in the cities in the country by how they treated their animals. And, you know, it's just, I've always been an animal lover myself, you know, and it's a shame that we see these starving cats and dogs running around the city. You know, we have to be more responsible. And, you know, I'm on the board for CASDA, and we just raised a lot of money for battered women and children. And there's no reason that we can't do the same for the animals that we have here in the city and the county. So please take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay.
Rick Saleshead?
Thank you for letting me speak to you tonight. I just want to briefly say that, well, first of all, I want to, you should really feel proud of your staff. Their patience and their expertise over these 5 years is to be applauded, and it's been a real privilege to be able to work with them. Mick did a great job of expressing all the locations that have been looked at, and in hindsight, if the Bear Creek Park had come forward first, we'd probably avoided 9 other selections. So I just want to let you know that I bring forth from the Board of Directors of Animal Allies and the Animal Allies management staff that we wholeheartedly support the Bear Creek site and hope that you all can select it tonight so we can move forward and you can have the animal shelter that you deserve here. So again, it's our support that I want to bring to you, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick, once again for your comments. Now, anyone else? Tom Fennessy, did you care to speak?
Yeah, I'd just like to let everybody know, those that don't know, is I'm the new city councilor out in that district, and I don't want to say this was dropped on me. I knew this was happening, so I'm trying to get caught up in a lot of the past history. And Mick, thank you. That helped a lot. In looking at this, I want to first say that I support it. I support the animal shelter. I support the location, pending that it does not affect the park. And I think that's what the public has to understand. I've had a number of emails, a number of phone calls from both constituents and individuals outside of my district encourage me to move forward with this, that they support this. But I think that there's some public that has a perception that we're going to be hurting the park, that we're going to be placing this adversely affecting the park, which I would not support, and I don't think anybody else here would. And I think it's got to be placed in the right way. And it's more of a procedural question, and I guess I'll kind of refer to my colleagues here as far as if this has actually been referred to the Parks and Rec Board, because it is a park, and the Parks and Rec Board really oversees the park or any changes, amenities. And Mary, maybe you can kind of explain what their role is. And I don't know if it's appropriate for action by that board before we act. Just a procedural question more than anything.
So Tom, thank you for your input on that. And Mary, please go ahead.
The Parks and Recreation Commission is a 7-member body that operates to serve you. And their considerations and recommendations to you are advisory. And the truth of it is for you to decide whether you want advice from that 7-member body or not. I will tell you that Mayor Hagan and I penned the members of the Park and Rec Commission a letter last week advising them that you would be considering the matter tonight and urging them to call either of us if they had strong feelings about the matter. I heard from one park board commissioner who thought the site was a good site, and I didn't hear from the others. Now, do bear in mind that Councilor Bridge and Councilor Martin were the city council liaisons or representatives on the park board, and we have new councilors, of course, replacing them tonight. We also have a Park and Rec Commissioner who winters in California. So quite frankly, even if we had wanted to call a special meeting, it might have been difficult for us to get a quorum prior to this meeting, which is why Mayor and I thought it courteous to write to them personally and invite them here, or to contact us if they had strong feelings.
Mary, thank you for your explanation. Councilor McKenzie?
Yeah, and Tom, and that was a legitimate question. I'm glad you brought that up. And Mary, I forgot in my my little speech here, I wanted to thank you for that. And that's what we had asked in a meeting. The mayor was there, Gene was there, several people were there. And we asked Mary about this, about having an emergency meeting to meet. Unfortunately, that couldn't take place because of all the things that you talked about, people not being here, gone, all of those things. But Mary did pen a letter. It was a very wonderful letter. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that, the way that you worded that. I think you included everything. I would think that anybody who received that letter would understand what you were trying to say, and if they were against it, I think they would have gotten a hold of you. And so, but you did a wonderful job. I really appreciate your support and explaining to them that, and your question too, Tom, can that park, can it coexist in the playground and the ball field? Yes, it can. I think in a wonderful way. And so, again, thanks for that question, and Mary, thank you for your hard work.
Tom, did you want to say something else?
Yeah, Director Getzman, could you maybe just briefly explain, I don't know if either you or Mary would explain the approximate siting of that, so that anybody listening or watching can kind of get a better idea of.
It's up for grabs.
Sure. I'll take a stab at it, Councilor. I think right now the thinking is that it would be located in that corner close to where the entrance sign is. There's a large white pine and a entrance to the City of Superior sign there on the, what would that be, like the northeast quadrant of that intersection with Moccasin Mike Road there. There's an access road into the site there now, and we've just kind of sketched a box on there and tried to move it around a little bit. There's some areas there we could play with exactly where to site it, but generally in that corner close to the Moccasin Mike and Highway 53 intersection there, and to the west of that current access road. So you'd probably be fronting the building towards the highway, have a back exit or facilities like mechanicals and trash, and then your exit out to walking areas and things out the backside. And just for the record, too, we did put down a couple of soil borings out there about a month ago in the middle of February. And again, I just kind of placed a box in that approximate area and drew the dimensions on there, one of our larger schematics we've seen for the building. And American Engineering put down a couple of borings, and they came back, as suitable. So there's nothing there to contend with that would be, a big problem for us as far as soils.
Thank you.
And Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the facility itself going to take only a couple acres of the 13? Isn't that what I read?
Yeah, it probably. The building itself, no matter what size you're talking about, is 6,000 to 10,000 square feet. So that's a quarter of an acre, and then the parking is probably another quarter to a half acre and access road. Yep.
Mary, do you want to add something?
Yes, I just want to add that when we speak of a 13-acre park, this is likely to be one of the top 5 largest parks in the city, particularly if we exclude athletic complexes. But when we think about the 13 acres, I do want to remind you that the acreage goes down into the ravine on the northwest side of the park, too. So do be mindful of that.
Anyone else have a comment that they care to address? Councilor McKenzie and then Councilor Sweeney.
Yeah, and I want people to know, and particularly you, Tom, what this building is going to look like. Some people have said, well, what is this going to look like coming into town, or why, a building there? Well, and we've got some wonderful businesses out there. Fabco is one of them, but there's a lot of machinery sitting around there, and there's pallets, and there's this and that, the other thing. And I'm glad that they're there. this building is going to be a beautiful building. I would invite you, Tom, and I will take you up there to Animal Allies if you've never been there, and show you what that building looks like. It looks like anything but a shelter. It looks like it could be a doctor's office, it could be a lawyer's office, but it is a beautiful, beautiful facility there. There's no noise. Whenever I've been there, people think that there's you can hear dogs barking, and no, there's not. It's a wonderful organization there that handles these animals in such a professional way. Even when they're walking animals in the trails that are up there, which we're hoping to have, they just blend into the surroundings there. So this is going to be a beautiful building. I guarantee it. It is not going to be something that is going to be anybody that's going to say what an eyesore. It's going to be the complete opposite. So it is going to look beautiful to anybody coming into this town. Your district.
Thank you for those comments. Councilor Sweeney?
Thank you. I'm just trying to play a little catch-up here. So the 9 sites before that, was this site never considered? Was it never an option? How did this come to be the 10th site when we rejected 9 before that? What was the process that or did this site just become available, or it just wasn't thought of? Or?
Who wants to take that one?
Go ahead, Jeff. Yeah, I'll take a stab at that too. I think it just in the course of discussion, we started to look at what are the criteria for another potential site in town, and it's something that the city owned, had the right amount of acreage, utilities available, the right soil types, and I think that one just came to the forefront. I'm not even sure how it came up, other than we looked at some blank space out there and realized we owned it, and we started looking at utilities access, and once we had the soil boring information, things like that, it kind of pushed to the top of the pile.
So it was never rejected before. It just wasn't on the radar.
Hadn't been on the
Just
list, right?
Popped into our heads.
Right.
Thank you.
Sir Olson?
And then 2 of us counselors and Jeff talked about it, so there was no walking quorum.
Anyone else want to log in? If not, we're ready for a vote. So I think we can go without a roll call vote for this. So all in favor of using the proposed site of Bear Creek Park for the animal shelter, and it's at 110 Moccasin Mike Road. All in favor say aye.
You go.
Go ahead.
I just, if it's possible, if we can amend that motion to add that it's contingent that there are no reductions in park amenities, if that's appropriate.
Who made the motion, Linda?
We didn't.
Councilor McKenzie, would you be up for that friendly amendment?
I didn't know if there was a.
And Tom, restate that friendly amendment, please.
Well, I'd just like something it amended so that people understand that by building this in that park, that we will not reduce any of the park amenities. I think the public has to be reassured that by doing this, we're not going to be taking out any of the stuff that people enjoy in the park.
Okay.
I don't know if that's appropriate or not. But
And before asking Councilor Olson to speak, who seconded that?
Councilor Herrick.
Okay, so Councilor McKenzie, are you willing to have that as a friendly amendment?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, I was the one that said that the shelter will coexist with the present facilities that are there, whether it's playground equipment, the ball field for sure, as far as I know. But of course, I'm not an architect or an engineer, so I don't know for sure what might be in. I can't say because I don't know the exact spot that the thing is going to be dropped on.
Point of order, Mr. President.
Councilor
We have not approved the site. We did not make a motion on that. I made a motion to go ahead with the public input discussion and adoption proposed Bear Creek. So we haven't really made a motion on the site.
Well, so then, well, it was a motion to approve. Right. So it was a motion to approve. So then we can vote on it and it will be accepted. Frog?
Well, I think there's been a motion to approve. there's now a motion to amend. The friendly bit is, we tried, I think out of the spirit of congeniality, to invite original motion makers and seconders to accept the amendment. But if that doesn't happen, that doesn't mean that the motion to amend is inappropriate. That would still be before the body. So friendly or not friendly, or ratified by the motion maker originally or not ratified by the original motion maker, it's still procedurally a motion to amend. And by my account, or by my note taking, it's a motion to amend the approval of the site with the contingency that and the understanding that there be no reductions in park amenities. I have to say I'm a bit I wouldn't know how to address that either. I was listening to Councilor McKenzie. I don't know if we have a plat that designates with specificity the area that is allocated for parks.
If I could add something to the discussion, I believe that park amenities consist of functions or uses. So, for example, the ball field, the ball diamond is one use, and the picnic pavilion is one use, and the viewing area for the games is another use, and the parking is a use, and the basketball court is a use. So I am presuming, Councilor Fennessy, correct me if I'm wrong, that if in fact we have to eat up the basketball court in order to serve parking for the animal shelter, that we might be inclined to relocate it with some of the dollars on site so that the basketball function isn't lost. Is that what you intended?
Absolutely. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is I had a couple people call me and in support of this, as long as we don't lose anything at the park, because they see the park being used so much, and they just want to be able to make sure that both of those coexist in a friendly way and not sacrificing one over the other. So that's pretty much my concern.
Well, I appreciate the clarification on amenities. I was thinking of square feet and whatnot, and that was getting awkward for me quickly, and I think you do a better job of identifying and obviously you've hit it the same page with Councilor Fennessy. So, I think if this amendment is approved, it would be staff's obligation to remember this component of the expectation of the council and then familiarize our designers, our architects, our contractors with the notion that the amenities that exist now, while maybe modified or altered at some degree, have to remain in essence in play throughout and after the construction. So I think that's understandable. It helps me at least. I guess procedurally the thing to do is to act on the motion to amend. So I don't remember if there's a second.
Okay, there was no second to the motion to amend.
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded for the motion to amend. Okay, any further discussion of the motion to amend? Tom, please restate your motion to amend so everybody's clear on it.
Maybe I should restate it somehow.
If you remember it.
Well, basically it was to approve contingent not to reduce park amenities. And I don't know if that's self-explanatory, but Frog, like you say, as long as we're all in the understanding and remember it when this goes into design.
Well, I believe that it is clear. So it's been moved and seconded to have that contingency as an amendment to the original motion. So all in favor say aye.
Could I?
Aye. Oh, excuse me.
Sorry, I have my light on.
Masolia?
Turn his light on. That's my trick. Okay. I'm real familiar with that area out there at Dr. St. Mike Road. I played softball out in that field for the last 15 years probably. I go out there on most Wednesday nights. It's fairly well used. It's probably not the most used park in town, but I would hate to see that we'd have to modify the plans for the shelter for that blacktop basketball court that's out there. It's on the outskirts of town, And I think Mary even said that if that basketball court had to be removed for parking, we could locate that basketball court someplace else. So I don't know, I just don't agree with the amendment to the original motion because...
I'm sorry, Counselor, let me clarify. I meant somewhere else on site, at that park, at that very park. Find a home there for the basketball function.
Okay. So do you think you have enough room out there the way it is without having to move anything? Right?
What I'm hearing is that things might be moved. If the shelter ultimately crowds a portion of the parking lot, or crowds a portion or all of the basketball court, or crowds a portion of all, part or all of the picnic pavilion, that which is being compromised would be reinvigorated on some other portion of the property. I mean, that's what I understood that to mean.
Yeah, exactly.
The features might not be exactly as you can see them when you drive by it today, but the amenities would be in play, and would expected to be in play ultimately after the project is completed. Whether the basketball court moves 20 feet or the parking lot is adjusted in some way, or a bunch of stuff is moved. I mean, that's awful language, but that's what I'm tracking here.
So, Mayor Hagan, you wanted to make a comment?
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me make a suggestion, because all the comments are very well taken, and it's hard for me, I'm sure most people, to visualize in their mind the juxtaposition and the spatial requirements. I would suggest with the passage of the motion that between now and the first meeting in May, we show the footprint of the location so that that can be discussed and assured that the recreational facilities will be available, compatible, and located properly on the site if they had to be moved to another location. I think by looking at a footprint on the spatial requirement, it might show a lot that we need to visually appreciate.
Thank you. Yes, and I will remind the council that we are voting on the amendment right now, because it was moved and seconded on the amendment. Frog, did you want to say something else?
No, just that.
Okay, so we're voting again on the amendment, and all in favor of the amendment, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, same sign. Show Councilor Masolia as opposed. Now I think it's time that we vote on the, okay. So we need a motion as amended? Okay. So somebody needs to make a motion as amended to approve Bear Creek Park for the animal shelter site. Okay, so it's been moved and multiple seconds as far as approving this with the amendment. Okay, everybody's clear? All in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, same sign? Okay, no one opposed? So I think that's it.
Before we do that,
Okay.
thank you to everybody involved with this. Thank you for this wonderful discussion, and thank you for supporting this long awaited site of this shelter. Thank you very much.
And thank you to Councilor McKenzie for all his work on this. I know I've gone to a couple meetings with him, but he's done more and more than yeoman service as far as this goes. So thank you to all. And who had the motion?